Hello. In this video we're going to look at how to read from text files, specifically using the scanner class. Now there's a lot of writing here, so let me summarize what it says. There's lots of ways to read and write to files. You need to choose a method which best suits your needs, and therefore it's really important to put some thought into what are your needs before starting the process. Like I said, we're going to look at how to use the scanner class to read from files in this video, and I want you to think about the similarities to reading from the keyboard using the scanner class, because it is actually very, very similar. As always, my best suggestion to you is after watching this, play around a little bit. There's too many methods and too many things for me to make a video on every single one. But after this video, you should have the ability to figure out how the different methods work. 3 special notes. One is there's this programming contest. It's a team contest called the Dwight Contest. It's a great programming contest, but in order to do the programs, you have to be able to read the information from a file and write your solution to a file. So it's really important to know how to do that. You can actually find a link to that contest in the notes section for this video. Like I said, there's many ways to do reading and writing to files, so a little research before actually diving into a specific project is encouraged. And finally, a lot of people are out there programming applets. Our applets are Java programs designed to run on a web browser. You cannot use this technique. There are some issues and reasons why we won't get into, but you have to use one way to do it is to use something called a URL object. And what I'd like to direct you to is this great online textbook which goes through some examples to help you figure this out. I'll add a video about it shortly. Alright, I've talked for far too long, let's dive in. So here's a program, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a new scanner object. But instead of creating a scanner object like I would to read from the keyboard, that is, I'd put system.in here, what I'm going to do is I'm going to create a file object. So I'm going to say new file, and then as a string I'm going to give the name of the file, data.txt. Now if you do this the first time, you'll probably get a couple errors. My error right now is add throw declaration. So again, just to use this technique, you actually have to deal with some exceptions that are thrown. So what I'm going to do, as opposed to writing a try and catch inside of here, I'm just going to have this method throw the most general exception called exception. Ooh, don't seem to be able to type. Here we go. Exceptions are a whole discussion unto themselves. For now, what you need to know is that when we create this scanner object, if we take a look at the Java documentation, let's actually do that. Here it is. You'll see with the constructor that takes a file, it throws a file not found exception. Now I'm not throwing that exception, I'm actually throwing just a general exception, and there's a technical reason why I can do that. If you're not sure what exception to throw, put throws exception and it will usually work. Exceptions are really great things to explore and learn about, but we're not going to do too much on that right now. Alright, let's go back to here. One last note before I go on is you might have gotten different errors. Make sure you've imported the correct classes in this. This is the 4th time I've tried to film this, so I've already imported them a couple times. Okay, so now the question is, well, what is my file data.txt? So if you go to Explorer and you navigate to where your project is, and that's what I've already done here, what you can do is you can right click and you can create a new text file. I'm going to call this data, and I'm not going to put .txt here. Students often do that, but because you've told the computer to create a text file, it's already going to add that extension .txt. So you just have to say data. So now if I come back over to my workspace, so my project, files, and I press F5, you'll see that refreshes all the files, and then there's that data.txt. So let's add some information. 1, 2, 3, 4. So if we go back in here, let's just save our file. What I can do now is I can access that file in the same way that I access the keyboard. What I have to bear in mind though is that the computer keeps track of what we've read from the file. So if I do this, system.out.println, and I do sc.next, what that does is that's going to go into the file called data.txt, and let's save that. And it's going to know that I haven't read anything yet, and it's going to take the next string, which could be a number, and then take that from the file. But then it's going to move to the next one. So if I do sc.next again, it's going to go to the next element. So watch what happens if I run this. I get the value 1. If I go in here and I change this to the word dog, and I run this, I get the word dog. But watch what happens if I do it again. If I run this now, I get dog 2, because the computer or the program actually keeps track of what I've read and in what order. And so there's a large variety of methods that are very useful for this. Let's say these were all integers and I wanted to do some manipulation. Let's say I wanted to add, let's say I wanted to add the first 2 elements in this file. So if I go here, let's go up to the top and create an integer called sum, set it to 0. I could do sum is equal to sc.next plus sc.next. And again, what I'm going to, it's telling me there's an error here. Let's see what it is. Type mismatch. Oh, yes, this is exactly what I'm trying to say. The problem here is that if I do sc.next, it's going to read them as strings. But I know about the file that they're actually integers. So I can actually use the sc.nextInt, and the computer will actually do the conversion for you into integers. Now, what's really important to know here, or the important idea that this expresses, is you need to know about the structure of your file before you use it. So remember, the file that you're using, you have to know what's in there, what it represents, and then you can manipulate it based on your needs. Okay, a couple last little things that are useful here. Let's say I wanted to read every element in this. Let's say I wanted to add all of these up. Well, there's a really neat method called hasNextLine, and it returns a Boolean. So if I go while sc.hasNextLine, there's also one called sc.hasNext. What I could do then is I could say sum is equal to the sum plus sc.nextInt. And then we're going to print out the sum. So what this will do is it's going to actually take a look and say, is there a next line in this file? So the first time we go in there, yep, there's a next line, so it's going to then execute and take sum is equal to sum plus the next int. Gets to the bottom. Is there another line? Yep. So then it's going to do that again. So it actually goes and adds up everything in the file. I could add a whole bunch of numbers here, and now save this, and then execute this. It's going to add all of those numbers up because it's checking for the next line. So again, there's lots of different methods to suit your needs. There's another method called hasNext. There's another method called nextLine. And I really encourage that you actually go out to the Scanner class documentation, which you can find online, and take a read through these. So I hope that helped. Hopefully you'll be reading from files after this, and if you have any specific questions, please do let me know. Have a great day.